Guyana is an English-speaking country on the coast of South America and the key to my family heritage. I have been traveling back to my second home for as long as I can remember. The tropical climate, abundance of culture, and sense of community runs deep through the country. My vast experiences have enriched me with a deep understanding about a different part of the world. Within the interior lies alluring sights of nature's work and a vast set of resources. Now, you're probably wondering, how did I end up here in Little Rock, Arkansas? How did my grandparents end up in Guyana? And where did my ancestors come from? Well, it all started back in the 1800s in Ethiopia. Felix Jackson, my great-great-grandfather, immigrated from Ethiopia to the Americas in the 1800s. My grandmother explains this more in depth.
My family surname is Jackson, and what I do know is that my grandfather, my father's father, whom I did not know, was Felix Jackson. Now, the name Jackson didn't sound very familiar to me. But, however, he was a pharmacist. This is the story that I have told. And he made his way after the abolition of slavery. So he must have had some resources of his own. Made his way on a ship to the U.S. Virgin Islands. But he found when he got there that slavery was still alive and well there. So he thought, okay, I'd better go further away from here. So he got another ship and ended up in British Guyana, where slavery had already been abolished. And there were still some people who stayed on the sugar plantations, etc., just much the same way as they did in the United States. But he set up his business, his pharmacy business, on the west coast of the Demerara River, pretty close to the Atlantic Ocean, and married a young woman who was the child of a Scottish landowner and an African house slave.
Felix's decision to migrate was a turning point for my family heritage. He helped lay the foundation for the next generations to live in their new home, Guyana. On December 15, 1931, Caroline Amelia Jackson gave birth to her 10th and final child, my grandmother, Ina Patricia Rollaire. Growing up, life was good for my grandmother. Since she was the baby of the family, she opted out of certain obligations, like chores, and stuck to more fun things, like tricking other members of her family.
My mother was Caroline Amelia Andrews, that was her name, and my father was Joseph Waterton Jackson. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother's mother, was part Amerindian and part African.
And can you explain Amerindian?
Amerindian is what you would call an American Indian, but these are the native people, okay? They were the first people in our country, and they live in the deep forests. My father got the OBE, the Order of the British Empire, which is a cross, old 22-carat embossed gold cross, which he, with the British royal colours on it. I still have the cross here. And what else? He was also involved in the teachers' movement, the association of the teachers of the country. And as I said before, a justice of the peace, so he could perform marriages and a pastor of a Presbyterian church, a small Presbyterian church on the west coast of Demerara in his home village.
Cool.
He was a member of what you would call the Parliament of the country of British Guiana. First of all, he was an educator. He had been taught privately by someone whose name I cannot remember at the moment, but he was quite good with mathematics, and at the age of 22 in colonial British Guiana, he became a headmaster of a school, a principal of a school.
Can you explain your mom and a little bit about her life?
Okay. My mom was a teacher, but in those days in colonial British Guiana, a teacher who either got married or got pregnant, either of the two or both, could not work as a teacher anymore because they thought it was not a good influence on the children. So she switched careers and became a seamstress and a milliner making hats.
Later in life, my grandmother married my grandfather, Herman Rollaire, and had her 2 children, Karen and Andrea. After growing up in Guyana, my mother and aunt both moved to Canada in their late teens. After this, my mother met my father, and they both moved to Little Rock, Arkansas, where they had me. Over the years, I have traveled back to my second home to learn more about my culture and where I come from. No matter where you go in the world, it is always important to remember your heritage and to stay true to yourself. I am proud of my family's history, and I am eager to share my knowledge of Guyana with others, a beautiful country of strong, hardworking people, full of culture, traditions, and the key to my heritage.